Rick, good to see you again.
How you doing, Keith? Good to see you, man.
Always, always. So I thought we'd do one today called titled Measuring Progress. And I want to share a recent experience in which I was able to able to assess improvement with regarding applying my practice. So I'm involved in a program called Mayo Clinic Cares. It's a pathway program for help for high school students to have some exposure to the different kinds of jobs that are involved in healthcare delivery. Everything from physicians to administrators to nurses, technologists, folks in lab, researchers, education. It covers everything since Mayo Clinic is an academic healthcare institution. So it's a great experience for high school students who may have an interest in medicine, but not really sure what they want to do, or they think they know what they want to do. And then they discover, nah, after talking to this physician, I don't want to do that, And so it's a really cool thing. One of the things that I have found, not only with high school students, but also with adults, there is this fear of public speaking,
Hmm.
or there is some growth that can, occur when it comes to presentation styles and how to present in a way that kind of engages and connects with your audience. So we have a little course where they learn presentation skills. And so I have a idea of what that looks like, not the only idea or one way to do it, but I have a unique way in which I like to approach it. And I have a colleague who also has an idea. Hers is more about bullet points and font sizes and how the slide deck looks and things like that. Mine is more about the presentation, like how you deliver it, whether there's storytelling involved and things like that. And so I would guess you would say her, if there's an art and science to presenting, hers would be the science piece of it, mine would be the art piece of it. And I have a little bit of both, I think, but mostly on the art. So last year, as we preparing to, give this talk to and instruction to to these high school students, I remember needing it to be a certain way. She and I had never presented together at all. And I remember I wanted it to be a certain way. Like I guess I had an ego about like her way was wrong or my way was better or both. And so when she was telling me about how she wanted to do it, I was like, in myself, I could see myself internally, like there was a struggle going on with no, just let it be, versus me like it's got to be this way, which is Keith's way, because I think this is going to help the students even more. And she, she said, okay, I'm going to do mine and then I'll follow you. And I just like leave enough time for me. This is all was happening inside, right? The ego is like just struggling to have its way. And so we go on and we present. It goes well, but there's suffering inside going on because I'm trying to make it a certain way. So it was well received. The students adopted a lot of the techniques and tips that we gave them. Fast forward a year later, it's the same thing. She and I giving a presentation. I've had a good year to work on myself. So I get there and she's about to present, and we both are, and we're deciding who's going to go first. And she says, "Hey, listen, I my phone is like 1% battery life left. Do you have a charger?" I was like, "I don't have a charger, with me, but there's one in my car, and my car is in the parking garage, so it's a good 10-minute walk round trip. We only have 30 minutes for the presentation."
Oh,
But but I'm in a peaceful space. Like I've had a year to work on myself. So I was like, I'm happy to go and get the charger for you. She's like, where's your car parked? That's in the parking garage. She's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, you had 1%. Let me go and get the charger. So I go to get the charger. She starts the presentation. I come in, I walk in, I hear her, and I'm not rushing to get back. I'm like walking slowly. She's got 15 minutes to present. I feel confident I can get back here with 15 minutes to go. And when I walk in, I'm not obsessing, on this errand about how she is corrupting them about her present about how to do it, or she is telling them the wrong. I'm not telling them the wrong things to do. I'm not doing any of that. All I'm doing is coming back very calm, patiently. I walk in, I plug in her phone for her. She's finishing up, and she's like, Keith, would you like to go? I was like, I just listened to like 30 seconds of what you're doing. Keep going. Like, I mean, you got this. It's like, no, it's like, one of a really good presenter here at Mayo Clinic. you guys really want to hear Keith? I was like, no, you're actually doing, I mean, I didn't say actually, I mean, you're doing a great job. Keep going. And she insisted I go. But it's just amazing. In 1 year, by working on myself, I gave up the need to have it my way or a certain way. I was able to completely surrender to the way that she was going to do it or the way she envisioned it. And Rick, I felt so much peace inside versus how I felt before when I had to have it my way and there was so much suffering involved and it was all self-inflicted. So what are your thoughts about this idea of measuring progress?
I think that your last point is just fantastic. The idea that everything is self-inflicted that causes you an interference with your inner peace. It sounds so strange, but it's so true. I find myself as I'm aging and I'm letting go of a lot of things that used to matter to me, like you just expressed in your story, that it really is about inner peace and how comfortable you feel in your own skin. That's a very difficult thing to do in this culture, particularly when you're involved in a competitive career, or you're trying to be in a relationship that maybe is not quite to your liking, or you're trying to futz with it. Trying to find the inner peace and letting the consequences go for how you really feel, that's difficult. And I'm just amazed. That's a great example of not being so stuck on the idea that you have to do something that's really powerful and really off the charts great, and then just letting it unfold and having it turn out to be doubly great for the people who are listening. Think of what that was like for the kids. There may have been another message there. Those people may not know anything about you, but the idea that you said, go ahead, continue on, that kind of gentleness, that kind of impression,
Mm.
for certain kids who are open to that would really make a difference. I love that, Keith. That's a great story. And let me give you one quick one for me too. I think that one of the things that I've struggled with over my career, and now that I'm winding up, it's less of a pressure, but the idea of always winning. The idea that if I don't win, that I'm insignificant or a fool, or I shouldn't have passed the bar exam and I shouldn't be licensed, and so forth. And litigation is a zero-sum game. There's a winner, there's a loser. There's no middle ground unless you settle or mediate and everybody walks away dissatisfied, which, by the way, is a sign of a good settlement. Everybody gives up more than they want to, but they get the case done. So my point is, I lost a motion to suppress, and I'm doing criminal law now. So this is a major felony, lots of consequences. I thought I had a good shot at the motion to suppress, that is to eliminate some evidence which would have allowed me to argue for a dismissal of the case, and my client would have walked home scot-free. And I was so involved in that, so meticulous in my preparation and my argument, that I thought I had a pretty good chance of winning. After 40 plus years of doing this, I never walk out of a courtroom thinking I won. Because I usually am surprised. I've won when I've lost. I've lost when I should have won, and that's kind of the story of litigation for me. Anyway, I lost, and so, like you, I've had a lot of time to work on myself. And my first impression was, this is something that I'm going to have to explain carefully to my client, and it clarified so many things for me about how my client would be feeling about this. In particular, what his options are. My old way would have been to be, tyrannical. I would have talked about how we didn't get a fair shake, the witness was lying, there were things that got in the way, pointing the fingers at everyone else. I skipped all that this time. And what I did this time is I just sat down with him and said, okay, here's where we're at. Here are your options. And that eliminating that entire beating the other people up and then beating myself up for losing went away. And then talk about what that held space, that allowed me to hold space for getting in to the details about what my client needed to know to make a rational choice about what his options are. So there's an example of killing the ego in an effort to make sure that what your mission is, which in my case was doing the best for my client that I could, is fulfilled. So congratulations. I think that's a great step. And I really think that the more we do this, the better we are for ourselves and for others.
Rick, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing that example from your recent experience about your growth too, about how you consciously cut out all the suffering in the middle, right? You just
Yeah.
you cut all that out for both you, for the client. Like, here's where we are in this moment. And let's work with this. And just beautiful, man. Just get right to it. I think about the physicians and the care providers at Mayo that when they have to give patients some news regarding their health that is something they would much rather not give, let alone the patient have to deal with this new reality. And they could go into all these things about how we got here and why this didn't, and or they can just be right there with the person about what's true in this moment. And that can be very comforting because it sobers the moment to where you are right here right now, conscious and present with this moment. And I think that can be incredibly helpful. Like, hey, get yourself together here. Let's there's something that we need um to hit head on, to be really direct about. And as you told me many times, man, we are here but a moment in this physical form. And let's not, you can either be busy dying or get busy living, right? And I want to get busy living. So to cut that nonsense out with my colleague at Mayo over presenting to high school students, as well as how you got straight to it instead of the suffering with respect to the case and your client. Just well done, Rick. I love you.
I love you, Keith. Thanks for including me on these. And I'm really hopeful that the people who watch understand that you and I have been beat up many, many, many
Mm.
times and continue to struggle with ego, continue to struggle with judgment, continue to struggle with all of the stuff that other people are struggling with as well. And the only, I think, the difference is that we're aware of it and we're able to put it in a can, and make choices that are for ourselves and our clients or our friends or our lovers or whatever, that take the ego, the idea of blaming others out of the picture. That's what growth is to me. That's what true growth is, keeping an eye on that stuff and not letting
Yes.
it run your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love you, Rick.
I love it, Keith. See you next time.
See you.